In section 4-9, we're going to talk about quadratic systems. Let's make sure you understand or remember what a system is. Whenever we have systems, we're saying we have more than one equation, okay? That's what systems means, is that we have more than one equation. You're going to learn how to solve these using graphing, and you're also going to learn how to solve them using substitution. Now let's talk about the three different ways that you can solve these given different items. Number one, you can solve by graphing. Just like you could in chapter 3, you can graph the two items and see where they meet. Okay, should we put that down? Where they meet. You should remember that from chapter 3 when we did this with straight lines. Now this isn't a terrible choice, but it's definitely not the best if the answers are really, really big or if the answers are fractions. And that's the same thing you learned in chapter 3. You never want to do it if the numbers are super big or if they're fractions. Number 2, if the question is multiple choice, then you can plug in x and y into all, that's an important word, all equations to see which choice is correct. Number 3, you can set them equal to each other. I guess you can just write set them equal because I already have to each other. So you can set them equal to each other, and then you can solve from there. You will have to set it equal to 0 if there's an x squared term. Okay, so that big blank is for x squared. Let's try first, notice I'm labeling, by graphing. I know it says multiple choice, but I took them away from you. Sorry. Which numbers are the y values of the solutions in the system here? So we have two things. I'm really hoping you guys remember that the first one is an x squared, so it's going to be a parabola. And since it's a negative x squared, I'm really hoping you guys will know that that's going to go down. And you should remember that y equals x plus 6 is in y equals mx plus b, so that's going to be a straight line. All right, well, let's label this number 1 and this one number 2. Let's go with number 1, the parabola. Now, how do you graph parabolas? You guys should remember the first step in getting a parabola is finding the vertex. Well, this is in standard form, right? In standard form, you have to do negative b over 2a. All right, so that's going to be negative 5 over 2 times negative 1. That's negative 5 over negative 2, which is a positive 2.5, 2.5. After you get your vertex, remember this is the x value, you make an xy chart. This is how you graph every single parabola. You put 2.5 in the middle, and then you surround it. What's a little smaller? 2 and 1. What's a little bigger? 3 and 4. Let's go ahead and plug those numbers in. You guys should know how, I hope, to plug these numbers in. You plug them into your equation. If you plug in a 1, you will end up getting 10 out. If you plug in a 2, you will end up getting 12. If you plug in 2.5, you'll end up getting 12.25. If you plug in a 3, you'll get a 12. And if you plug in a 4, you'll get a 10. Now let's talk about how to graph y equals x plus 6. You find your slope, which is 1 over 1. You find your y-intercept, which is 6. Which of these is easier for us? Hopefully this one, right? So let's graph that one first. Let's go up 6 and make a dot. Now use your slope to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I'm going to encourage you to make as many dots as you can. The more dots you make, the easier this problem will be for you. All right, grab a straight edge. and connect your points. Well, we're halfway through. Now we got to plot our points for our parabola. Let's go over 1 up 10. Did that cross? No, unfortunately it didn't. Let's go over 2 up 12. Did that cross? No. Let's go over 2.5 up 12.5. That's going to be kind of a hard dot. Take a look. I'll zoom in if you want. You see it? It's like right there. Now let's go over 3 up 12. And let's go over 4 up 10. Hey, look guys. Right there, over 4 up 10. Did you see they meet? I'm going to make that point really dark. Did you see how dark I made it? Now I'm going to connect, watch this, I'm only going to connect one side, guys, because that's the only side I got to meet so far. Now I know you might be wondering, how in the world do you do the other side if it didn't meet? Well, I apologize, but that means you have to go back to your table and you got to go in lower. So we got to go lower than 1. Let's plug in 0. So you go to your equation, you plug 0 in up here. That's 0 plus 0 plus 6. Well, 0 plus 0 plus 6, when you go to your chart, is 6. Let's go ahead and see if that meets. Over 0 up 6. Look guys, you see how we finally got a point to meet? I'm going to make it real dark. That's our other answer. So I can finally finish my graph. And I have found out where they meet. They meet at 410 and at 0, 6. So these are the two solutions. Graphing isn't very much fun because you really have to sit there and really plot and plug in a lot of things. Now let's go to multiple choice. What do you do? Is there an easier way? Well guys, once you know your tests are multiple choice, you know the keystones are multiple choice, so let's make sure you know how to answer using multiple choice. What is the solution to these systems? Let's look at our options. Let's try option A, okay? Option A will be wrong, but let's go ahead and figure out why. Let me get my calculator. All right, we are going to plug in for the top equation. This is x. Let's see if we get 9 out. So you guys ready? Let's plug in 0. So we'll do 0 squared plus 6 times 0 plus 9. We get a 9 out. This one works in the first equation. Now we need to test and see if it works in the second equation. Okay? So let's plug 0 in for x. We'll do 0 plus 3, and we get 3. So it does not work for the second equation, so A cannot be right. Let's move on to B. I'm going to write this one out, okay, so that will help you understand. Let's plug this one in for x and see what we get out. We'll do y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 9. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see what we get. Negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 9. We do get a 0 out. Okay, it works for the first equation. Let's try it in the second equation. And we're just focusing on the first point so far. Y equals x plus 3. Well, what are we plugging in for x? Negative 3. What's negative 3 plus 3? 0. So this also works for the second equation. Now what you have to realize is that we only tested one point. Now we need to test the other point. So plug in a positive 3 for x now. So first equation, y equals, a 0 for x now. Y equals 0 squared plus 6 times 0 plus 9. Well, what is 0 squared plus, this is 0 plus 9 equals 9. What did I need to get out? Unfortunately, I needed to get a 3. Letter B cannot work. Go to C. Now, we already tested this, okay? We tested in B, and we decided it was good. Okay, so don't test it again, but we will have to test negative 2, 1. So let's test negative 2, 1 in the first equation. So we do y equals negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 plus 9. Let's plug that in. Negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 plus 9 equals 1. Did that work? Absolutely, because we needed to get a 1. Let's try it in the second equation. Y equals negative 2 plus 3. What's negative 2 plus 3? 1. It works in the second equation. Since both points work in both equations, the answer is C. We're going to try now using substitution. I personally feel that substitution is the easiest. I don't like using multiple choice because I feel like it's extra long. I don't like graphing because it doesn't always work. I really like substitution because it always works, and I think it's easier than multiple choice as long as you know how to substitute. So we have two systems. We have negative x squared minus x plus 6 and x plus 3. And we want to figure out when are they equal. Alright, when are they equal? So what they did is they set each equation equal to each other. And then they set it equal to 0. Okay? So they took step 1 and they then set step 1 equal to 0. Now once you have something set equal to 0, you're going to see if you can factor. If you can factor this trinomial, factor it. X plus 2x minus 3 does factor into x minus 1 and x plus 3. Then you set each one equal to 0, and you get your two answers of 1 and negative 3. Now realize these are just the x's. We still need to find the y's. So, to find the y's, they plug it into the easiest equation. Look up here. Which equation is easier? Okay? And should we write that down somewhere? Use easier equation. The easier equation is y equals x plus 3. So they did y equals 1 plus 3 because one of their answers was 1. And they got y is 4. The other answer was negative 3, so they did y equals negative 3 plus 3, and they got 0. So the two solutions are the x and the y that we got, and the x and the y that we got. Something that the book does not mention yet is that you may need to, at this step, the step that I'm pointing at where I wrote factor, you may need to use the quadratic formula if it doesn't factor. And even if it does factor, if you prefer just to use the quadratic formula, that's fine. You'll get your answers right away.